Hey everybody, I'm Jack Rita with Future Pastimes, and I'm the designer of Cosmic Odyssey, which is the campaign expansion for Cosmic Encounter. And a number of people have asked me if I have a favorite set of age cards to use for a campaign. Now, normally what you do is you're randomly drawing the age cards and picking one to have for the next age, but you can have a predetermined set where everyone agrees this is what we want to use because you like the particular alien selection methods, or more likely it's the variants that you want to have in the order that you want to have them. And this is definitely one of the ways that I like to play it. So I do have a favorite set of age cards to use from those in Cosmic Odyssey. I also have a favorite set from the cards that I've made, so I'm going to cover both of those. And we're going to start with the ones from Cosmic Odyssey. So I like to start a campaign with the Forgotten Age of Eons. So this one, your alien selection method is called Unseen, and I'll explain how that works. And then the variant is the Array Objectives, and those are objective cards that you deal out and you have them face up, and there are additional ways to score points. So everyone could be like, ooh, I have the most ships in the warp, for example, is a favorite one, I think, just because it really turns gameplay on its ear. So Unseen, that is where you have the person who's the right of the first player. They're going to draw an alien, and they're not going to look at it. We can actually hold it up. And you go around, and each player decides whether or not they would want to add that alien to their coalition. So after everybody has made that determination, the person who can't see the alien either gives it to one of the players who says, I would like that alien in my coalition, or they can choose to add it to theirs. And so you get a little bit of a psychological game where you're maybe trying to get the unseen player to pick an alien maybe they don't want in their coalition. But then again, maybe you do want that alien in there. So that's kind of fun. And if nobody wants it, it just gets set aside and you just do it until everybody has done that. Then the next player goes, and they're the unseen player who draws one. Anybody who doesn't have an alien, again, decides, do they want to add that alien? And then the last player, who's the first player, if they haven't been given one, whoever is the last player just gets a random alien. So that's, I think, a good one to start with. It kicks things off, I think, for the silliness and the whimsy that you can expect from Cosmic Encounter, but also some of the tactics and strategy that you may employ moving forward. So I like to kick things off with that one. We don't always do the carryover, and that is where whatever your variant was in the previous age, normally that carries over, so you have double variants. So we don't always do that either. Just depends on how we're playing. But in any case, the next one that we'd like to go through is the Mundane Age of Dominion. So the alien selection method is draft, and then your variants are the reward deck and hazard deck. So I like to get the reward deck in there pretty early, and I think hazards are fairly low impact because they only come up when you draw a hazard destiny, which is less than 1/3 of the destiny cards overall. So again, I think it's another one. You're easing people in. So this is a double variant, so we don't necessarily have the carryover just because we've got that going on. But with the reward deck, we might be like, yeah, that's fine. And I think Array Objectives as a third variant that you're going to have in there, still fairly low impact. It's not a lot that you need to worry about. Every encounter, it's something you can refer to, and it may inform your decisions about what you do. Again, using that example of most ships in the warp, maybe say, yeah, let's go. I'm all in. If I'm allying, I'm sending 4 ships. And if I'm the offense, I'm sending 4 ships. And so the risk there is bigger, but the reward, it either works for you in either way, because maybe you're just going to have the most ships in the warp and score a lot of points that way. So the draft. Draft is, and I'm referring to the the rules because each age in the campaign guide explains the variant for that age as well as the alien selection method. So just as a reminder for me, player to the right of the first player is going to draw a number of aliens equal to one more than the number of players, and they're going to choose an alien, reveal it, and they're going to you're basically drafting from that, passing it to the next player. So the last player will have only a choice between 2 aliens, and it's everything that everyone else has passed on, but it's the luck of the draw. So then you have the reward deck and you have the hazard deck, and that is always a good time, I think, for everybody. So then moving on, our third age is going to be the Vibrant Age of Luminance. So Spectrum is the selection method, and the variant is Lux. And so if we do have a carryover, then you've got the reward deck to spend the Lux on. So that is, I think, a good justification for doing carryover. But again, you can still do rewards without the reward deck. You're buying from the Cosmic deck, you're getting ships out of the warp. So Lux is still, I think, a good time. And Spectrum is everyone is dealt and 1 green alert alien, 1 yellow alert alien, 1 red alert alien randomly, and then you're choosing from those 3. So you're deciding how advanced of an alien you want to deal with yourself. And some of the red ones, they're not complicated, but they're tough to come up with an instant strategy to deal with for the other players, and that's what makes them red alert. So I'm usually, though, I'm playing with people who know what they're doing in Cosmic Encounters, so we're not afraid of that, and they like to have that choice between the 3 different alert levels. And then we end things with the Obedient Age of Incursion. And look, we have once again the reward deck now with Ultra Rewards. And our alien selection method is Endowment. And Endowment is the one where, if I'm remembering correctly, you are going to deal each player 2 aliens, and then you're gonna everyone's gonna choose one to pass to the player next to them and discard the other one. And so you're basically you're being given the alien that you that the other player wants you to have, and then not the one that they don't want you to have, if that makes sense. So I think that's a pretty good one. Even if you've got some new players in the campaign, I think this is a good set of age cards. Now moving over to the custom cards that I have made, it's a similar approach. So we start off with the Primitive Age of Luddites. So this is one that I made where the selection method is your normal selection method. You deal 2 aliens to each player, and they choose 1. And then the variant is no flares. So it's actually a downgrade. You're not even using a variant. So this is a good one to introduce to people to the campaign, especially if they're new to Cosmic Encounter. You get them in and you are warming them up to stuff. The selection method, again, it's the one from the basic rules. Then we move into the Precarious Age of Rivals. And here we're using Spectrum. So it's green, yellow, red. And like I said, some of those yellows and reds, they're easy enough to understand how to use them. Sometimes the alert has to do with your familiarity with the game, like knowing what sorts of stuff is in the Cosmic deck and things like that. So, but again, if a player is like, I don't know about this, they can choose a green alert alien. So again, it's still pretty good for easing somebody into stuff. And then we're using blind objectives. So these are, the thing with the blind objective is that you don't have to pay any attention to them because nobody knows what they are. It's a little surprise at the end of the game. You say, oh, look, I fulfill this. That's extra points. So it's a nice little surprise. It doesn't add any overhead to your brain power. So it's a pretty good one. And if you want, you can do carryover. So you would be having no flares again. But I think usually we're like, nah, we don't really worry about that. Let's bring the flares in on the second game. And the blind objectives, it's like not even having a variant. It's just a little extra thing that goes on. And then we move on to the Annoying Age of Constraints. So here we have White Elephant, which I'll explain. And then the variant is Win Limitation. And that is a variant where only one player can win the game. But there's some mechanisms for opening that up after a person goes for the win solo. The number of players who can go for a joint win it starts to increase. So it's kind of a fun way to go. The White Elephant is one where You are going to be drawing a random alien to start off with and adding it to your coalition. And then the next player can steal an alien, any alien from a player's coalition, not just the one that has been added, but any alien from the coalition, or get a new one. And that just goes on. And there's some rules for about how many times a particular alien can be stolen. And you keep going until everyone has the same number of aliens in their coalition. And the first player, whoever went first, actually gets last choice, where they can steal an alien from anybody and give them one of the aliens from their coalition. So it really ups the ante, I think, in terms of what's going on. There's a lot of shaking up. If somebody's it's the third game of the campaign, so you're familiar with some of the aliens, especially if somebody had a great game with their first alien and they decided to play it again. So everyone is like, ooh, that alien's back, it's virus or whatever. Like, we need to get that out of your hands. So it's lots of shenanigans there. The variant is the win limitation. Yeah. So that's the third age. Fourth age is the amazing age of power. And here you have something called Vote Bowl. And Vote Bowl, if I can remember how that one works, you draw an alien, and everybody votes yes or no, should that alien be added to the general pool. And if a majority of players vote yes, it's added to the pool. If not, it's set aside. And you do that until you have enough aliens in the pool equal to the number of players. Shuffle those up and deal them out at random. So everybody has some agency about what aliens are going to be in the mix, but they just don't know if they're going to be the one who gets it or if someone else is going to get it. And you really, at this point, you're taking into account, all right, not just these aliens on their face value, but the other aliens in the coalitions, where you're like, oh, if this is in here, it's going to work really well against these other aliens if they get in. So it might be a deterrent. And that makes, I think, the alien selection even more interesting. And then Super Shots is a variant where you have some tokens and you have a number of uses of your alien's super. So you're actually going to set the super flares aside. They're not added to the deck. And you can use the super of your alien a limited number of times at a time of your choosing. And so that can be a very big deal, especially with some of them. Some of the aliens have some very unusual super effects. So you have to be very careful about who you choose to play in that last game using the super shots. It's a really fun variant. I think that was Patrick Riley who came up with that. And I thought it was a great thing to add to a custom age card. So this is, I think, a really fun campaign, and it works for a mix of new and old players, because you're getting your feet wet with a lot of different elements to the game. So it's a nice way to ease you in. And the other one, I think, also works well with newer players, but it's got a big focus on the reward deck, which I think a lot of veteran players especially are quite keen to have in the campaign. And it gives you a couple of opportunities, even if you don't use carryover. If you do, you're talking about having 3 out of the 4 games using the reward deck. So I think it's win-win either way that you want to do that. So let me know your thoughts on these, and if you have a particular mix of age cards that you have done or would like to see together. And if you've been coming with your own custom age cards, share that, as I'll be making a new batch of those, I think, in the coming year. And always keen to see if people have come up with new alien selection methods inspired by the campaign ones, or just stuff that you've been doing for a long time, or stuff you've just come up with, and any other variants that are not officially part of the Cosmic Encounter campaign or the game in general, but you think are fun variants. Certainly, I think there's opportunity for more combos like rewards and hazards. Just depends on your mental bandwidth. How much can you and your group handle having all at once, irrespective of whether you're using the carryover effect or you're just limiting to the variants that are there. So what are some good pairs of variants that you think work, that don't tax the mental faculties of the majority of your players? That's it, everybody, for this one. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon.